Okay, guys, welcome. I want to start with a question. How many people here started the day over at the DeviceWise Global Summit? Okay, that's a good answer. So it means we got a lot of people who already understand the basics of what we're going to talk about here. So ILS, who's now a subsidiary of Telit, has been investing in our DeviceWise application enablement platform. Spans a very wide range of functions, all focused on different technology to get data from your assets into your applications in a very easy to use platform so you can rapidly build enterprise-grade solutions. To peel the onion a little bit, when we say platform, a lot of people are talking about just some piece in the cloud or just some device. We have a portfolio that has technology that goes at the edge and gateway-type assets from guys like Option and Multitech and CalAmp and Systech and a number of the leading vendors there. We have, as part of our work with Telit, embedded a lot of our agent technology directly into the Telit module so that now people with a very simple set of AT commands can leverage the full platform of our cloud. We also have gateway technology, so everybody out there who has legacy devices and deployments who needs to integrate in with a new modern application platform can do so without having to go and roll trucks and reprogram all their existing devices in the field. And we have open APIs, and we're major proponents of standards. So today, all of our technology is built on top of TIA's TR50 standard. We're slowly migrating and tracking the activities going on within M2M and several other standards bodies, trying to figure out where the road's leading to next. But this is not going to be a war won on proprietary closed systems. It's all about open. And that's why we call this platform our new open platform. When we talk about what we do with the data, it's the same thing. We focus on two directions. One, we have APIs for people. They can get whatever they need out of our platform. We also have our enterprise gateway technology to directly feed other enterprise systems. This is where we'll show you a little bit of information about how we've integrated with Google and their Google Cloud Platform and BigQuery data store, how we integrate with SAP HANA, how we integrate with Oracle and IBM and many of these big systems that are out there, facilitating the medium and large companies' desire to integrate with their existing business systems. So when we look at the market, we define this into 7 distinct pillars that really define what we do. We have the technology to integrate the things that are out there. We talked about the 4 different on-ramps. We have device management. We can go and push firmware updates to tens of thousands of devices with only a few clicks. And we can do that across many different vendors' devices. We can push updates out to Multitech devices, to CalAmp devices, to Systech devices. Whatever need be, we can take that into our single platform, distribute it out, and manage that process. We're also integrated with a number of the network operators. So we can go and blend in the data from their CDPs, their connected device platform, so that we can go and bring in data and activate modems, deactivate them, change rate plans, all from within our single pane of glass. We also have put a major focus on security. And when we say security, that means security at many different layers. Security in our cloud, security in our devices using our technology. This is very important to how we approach the market. We also, last year, have introduced a new element, and that's our cloud data storage. That's the ability for customers to store terabytes and terabytes of data in our cloud, and then we present that data to them in a very easy-to-use API environment. We also have our application integration. That's what we've been doing with the HANA Cloud. That's what we do with Google Cloud Platform, facilitating that direct cloud-to-cloud link. It's no longer about having to go through proxies, having to go to on-prem systems. It's about simple configuration for rapid integration with these different services. And lastly, we have our enterprise integration. And again, something we've always been very strong with, the ability to go and do that dynamic modeling of 2 different models. The model coming out of our platform going into the model of the customer's platform, regardless of the vendor. And the key here is this is where we then call it our data in transit. So if cloud storage, data at rest, enterprise integration, data in transit. The data passes through our cloud. It doesn't necessarily stop and get held by us. So this is another just how we build out and look at our platform. Our platform also is nothing without its ecosystem. We understand we can't do it all. And so we bring in the network of partners to go and help build out that infrastructure. We are a software company. Telit is a module maker. We do not make boxes. That's where we look to our device partners to fill that space. We also have our strong partnerships with our operators. You heard people up on both the business and technical tracks from Verizon talking about their use of the DeviceWise platform in a number of other operators around the world. We also, on the business side, heard from Proximus, who has our platform embedded in their network. We also work very closely with the SIs. These are the guys who are actually out there building the solutions for the companies that don't have the organic development teams in place. So that network of partnerships also means there's a group of people, ends up being thousands of developers who know how to use our tools and our stack to build robust solutions quickly. The developers are something that's a little bit newer for us. We've always been kind of the B2B platform, catering to enterprises. Now we're focusing more on getting the new developers in, the guys in the valley trying to implement the next biggest thing, the guys trying to design some new service. So these are guys who we're now bringing into the fold with our developer program. I don't know if it was talked about much, but we launch it now. You can now use our platform, unlimited use, up to 10 devices for free for life, as a way to encourage developers to start onboarding onto the platform. And I think since we announced that program last September, we now have 580 companies who've signed up to join that free developer program. So we're growing very quickly in that space. And then we have our technology partners, the IBMs, the SAPs, the Oracles, who are really providing us all those pieces that we don't have organically in our platform. So now I'm going to transition to a little bit of a demo to show the flexibility and capability of our platform. And before I do that, though, I have a couple of important questions. Are there any members of law enforcement in the room? I see a hat. Okay, good. No, none. How many people here have children in the ages of 15 to 18? Okay, you guys may find a distinct amount of value in what you're going to see here. And no, it's not related to what Carl was talking about. So what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at what we've been doing in our assembling of telematics-based information. And we did this with something that we can readily share because we instrumented all of our own vehicles at the office. And we happen to have a lot of really bad drivers. So we used one of the very popular OBD2 adapters. It interfaces with our cloud. On the top end, we have a couple of things. So one of our developers decided on a weekend to go and put together an application showing what type of data he can mine out of our platform using nothing but our standard API set. And then also, we've mirrored all the data that comes into the platform using our cloud-to-cloud integration with Google BigQuery. And then we had a couple of developers in our Big Data Challenge try to analyze and find some useful information, and we have a little bit of the results from that to show you, which at least I find entertaining. So with that, I'll switch over to the demonstration. So first of all, when we gave away something, but so when customers log into our platform, it's all about managing their devices. Devices can be many different things. In this case, we have cars in this account. We have power meters. We have HVAC monitoring, sprinkler. Oh, nothing up. Thank you. Oh, so that was what everybody's laughing at. We all have to have a motto. Hold on, now it'll help if I just mirror it. Multiple display, mirror. Okay, back on track. So when we look at the Tara, you get the prize for the day. So when we look at our platform, we see cars, we see smart meters, we see home HVAC, sprinkler systems, many different things can all be managed by the same platform. Today we're focused on the cars. So if we look at just the cars that are connected, we can see all sorts of interesting information coming off of these things. So in this case, we're going to look at one of our sales guys. So if everybody wants to know who we're talking about today, the guy is Charlie McNiff back here. So, raise your hand, Charlie. Charlie, your hand. Oh, yeah, there we go. See, there's Charlie. He's a funny guy. As you can see, Charlie has a car that has a little too much horsepower, and he makes use of it on a regular occasion. So we can see that he's actually down here with us today, so he drove his car down. We can see information about his journey to come visit us. So if we filter down and let's look at just the data from today, we can see information about Charlie's drive. Oh, today and yesterday. So if we look at the information about Charlie's drive down, we can see certain interesting data about it. But again, so we have the map views. We have the ability to pull this data together. If we go now and look at something that I always find to be my favorite part of the platform, it ends up being the tracking of the speeding alarms. And so when we look at this, we can see the data very quickly presented in something that's very easy to manage. So being able to see how much he's speeding between 10 and 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, 25 to 45, and 45 miles an hour over the limit or more. Yeah, you know what's coming. Let's see, where is something interesting? 112 miles an hour, 47 miles an hour over the limit. 110. Well, Charlie maybe needs a remedial driving lesson. So, very quickly, though, we can start to contextualize this information. For us, this is automatic. Once we have location data and speed data, we automatically correlate that data with the speed limit database and start generating these alarms. This is the type of value-added platform information we bring in and blend when we look at this data. And so when we look at this, it's about the alarms. It's about having that property data, being able to actually see what the profile of a trip looks like. So in this case, looking at the actual speed of his drive, we could see that this is definitely what you would qualify as a pretty bad driver. So, when we look at this, this is one way of viewing it. This is our management portal. This isn't a dashboard. This isn't drag it and drop it and build whatever you want. This is how you can view the data, verify its integrity, and then ultimately inspect that it's being processed properly from the edge. If we want to look at an example of an app built on top, this was the app created by one of our developers, and we start getting more interesting information because we start stacking our cars side by side, and then you can really see who the good and bad drivers are. So, we have Charlie there who generates 5.1 speed alarms per trip. You have me who comes in at a solid 4. We have the developer who created the app at 3.6. Surprisingly, the Ford Taurus is not one of the ones that speeds a lot. And that would be our CEO's car. Likewise, the Volkswagen Golf. Very, very safe driver. He's also our chief security officer, so I don't know if there's a correlation there. Also when you're looking at drive times, the speed alarms per hour. Again, it's all about trying to find nuggets of information, and all this is available from just analyze it, using our APIs and making the queries. So, obviously the guy knows how to, use a graphing library in his web language of choice. I think this was PHP on the back end and a lot of JavaScript and HTML and CSS on the front end. But, being able to see those interesting diagrams, and this is all just data pulled out of the platform. So the key here is it's very easy to pull this together, whatever you're trying to do. In this case, it's cars. We can pull together lots of information depending on how you're trying to view it. And this is all just amalgamating through our standard APIs, what we're looking at. If we go back to the slide deck, we have an example of what was done looking at the data through Google BigQuery. So the cool thing is, once you integrate to BigQuery, it makes it very easy to apply that data into something like Google Maps. Google provides a lot of tools to be able to facilitate this. So in this case, we're now looking at my car, and we're looking at a heat map of where my car spends the most time. And there's some things that you can pick up from this, again, very easily. There's my commute to work. I work a lot. I don't do a lot else, so that's the vast majority of my drive time. You notice, though, on the top there's another hot spot. That's my favorite area to go drinking. Apparently, I might have a problem, and I don't know if that and the desire to keep working go hand in hand. But you see, there's also a hot spot down south. It's another area where I like to go drinking. So it's very interesting as you start gathering this data, collecting it and analyzing it, how you start gaining these insights. And okay, I kept it fairly light here. We're looking at bad driving behavior amongst a bunch of bad drivers. But you could apply the same thing to a fleet manager trying to track his, 10 delivery truck drivers, or the car rental company trying to track their 50,000 or 100,000 vehicles and how their customers are using them. And the possibilities are endless. And that's the key to a platform, is it's not about the specific use case, it's about enabling all the different use cases. So when we pivot there and we look, it's also not about cars. Cars are great, cars are cool, everybody understands them. This is a platform that's used in every vertical, every industry, and the use cases are only growing over time. So we have a lot of different solutions that are out there. We'll hear a little bit about one more at the end of this. So let's just end by talking about ROI. Everybody understands when you put together an IoT solution, there are many different things that all have to come together to build out an IoT solution. From the architecture to the device management, the connectivity, getting the application data in, building the visualization. Our goal with DeviceWise is to go and try to help you with the hardest parts of that. We solve a lot of these pieces through our platform to make it so the amount of work you have to do to build out your solution is as minimal as possible. It's not to say it's no work. It's not to say, you use a platform and you flip the switch and it's done. But it's about switching man-years of work into man-weeks of work. And so to talk a little bit about the value of using DeviceWise in a platform, I'm going to bring up Kaz from PacSense. If you come up here, you got a good story to tell in our last 2 minutes. I haven't seen my 2 minute yet, so.
Thank you. You are paying for the liquor. I'll pay for
Well, this is unexpected, but I was asked to tell an embarrassing story, so I will tell it anyway.
He's got it.
This one? The one I should turn over to? Like that?
There you go.
All right. Nice and loud. Asked to tell an embarrassing story, so okay, here we go. You're not supposed to talk about your mistakes, although sometimes it works and serves to prove as a course and a direction light for others. We started a M2M project. We make temperature monitoring labels for the food and pharmaceutical industries. We have customers that use our radio frequency label. I think I actually even have one of those at distribution centers. And we have a configuration, a box. We use an option, CloudGate box with one of our proprietary cards in it to read our proprietary labels. And we developed that on top of the ILS DeviceWise system. Now, I can say dork. We dorked around for about a year trying to do it ourselves, actually a little more than a year. And it was a never-ending battle for something else we didn't know. And finally, we got the green light to go on the ILS system, 3.5 engineers, 3.5 months. We went from, pretty please, can we do this now, to our first test, which was actually our first prototype run in our first installation in a customer in Salt Lake City, Utah, up and running perfectly, not a problem at all. Matt, our head of engineering, was at that installation and reminds us that on his drive back, the quality manager called and said, "Oh my God, this is great. Thank you so much. We've already found several problems with some loads and have been able to address the issue. So right away, so fast from concept to application, working off the bat, took care of the back-end systems and everything for us, and it was marvelous. What else can I tell you? And they're fun to work with. That's true. True statement.
Okay, guys. So, I really thank you, Kaz. It's awesome. And with that, I always like to leave you on a high note. So, Kaz is great. One of our newer customers, again, up and running very quickly. So with that, you have the DeviceWise AEP. And see you guys all next door in a few minutes. Well, not quite a few minutes. You got a couple more to listen to.
Couple more to listen to, yes. But give Jim a round of applause, please.